You know, I wanted to make this video tonight because I got a comment a couple days ago on my last video by someone saying they dated a woman who lied to them and said that the child that they had was their sister's child and it was actually their child. And you know, I myself has dealt with the same type of behavior from women. I think it's actually pretty pathetic, but a lot of women, they seem to just um, lie and manipulate, and they tell you what they think you want to hear to if they're attracted to you. And you know, eventually, little by little, as you get to know them and the relationship progresses, then the truth usually ends up coming out. But um, a lot of women I've noticed, like I said, they seem to think that is okay, and just because they have interest towards you and higher interest, they think that that kind of behavior is acceptable, and that you shouldn't judge them, you know, when the truth comes out. But to me, that's just, you know, another form of lying and manipulating. And I myself, like I said, have dealt with the same type of behavior. I have well, you know, example. I spoke about this girl before. I dated a girl. It's actually been about a year since me and this girl have broken up. But when I first met this girl, you know, she would, as I started seeing her true side and her true colors, I noticed more and more she was just telling me things she thought I wanted to hear. And as, you know, we progressed in our relationship, the same thing, you know, I started catching her in little lies, and the truth started coming out. And eventually we ended up breaking up because things just didn't work out. And she lied to me so many times that I couldn't trust this girl anymore. I couldn't look at her the same. So, you know, the relationship started falling apart. But yeah, this girl would just, I started notice, you know, catching her in little lies. She would lie to her parents, lie to her outside family, her brother she would lie to. I started noticing that the rest of her family wanted nothing to do with her, and she would try to blame it on other things, and pass the blame off of herself on this other things. But you know, I started seeing the true colors, and that you know, she had something, like she was either a pathological liar or a narcissist. But either way, you know, I've dealt with the same thing. And women, a lot of women do this. They just think that kind of behavior is okay, and if they're interested, then it's okay. And now if a man does it, it's a different story. You know, he's a piece of garbage, a liar, you know, cheater, manipulator. He's a toxic masculinity and all this BS, you know. But yeah, a lot of women are reverting to that type of behavior, and thinking they can just say whatever they want to coax you into a relationship, or liking them, you know, in some way, shape, or form if they're interested in you. And you know, that's another thing with the women, is the manipulation. That, I mean, it has just gotten out of control. Another example about the kind of behavior women do is so I have a friend, you know, that I've spoken before about him in videos before. But you know, some of these women, I've seen that would talk to him, you know, and they would text. The women would end up texting him, you know, and he would reply to them. But if he said one message too much, or one word that, you know, wasn't what they wanted to hear, they would be done. They would be done with him. They'd say he's needy or a creep. And like, that is another thing I think has got to stop. Because women, like, even going back to this girl, I was just talking about this girl. I could tell sometimes when I would text her. I'm not the type of person to text people too much, you know, especially women. I lay off and just do my own thing, and I'll reply to people when I get off work usually, you know, unless it's like really important, you know. But even with this girl, I could see sometimes when I would text her that she was maybe possibly thinking that. But like I said, I don't text too much, so it never actually progressed into a problem. But I would see the same thing. But with this girl, she would text me. I mean, this girl, if I would ignore her, she would literally text me 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a row. She would start messaging me saying, "Please, I'm really bored. Can you just reply to me? Can we just talk?" And like, being super desperate and needy. Now I can imagine if the roles were reversed and that was me that did that, Like she would have been done like immediately. I don't see how modern women nowadays they have so many endless options that one little mistake, even texting them one too many times, they're done with you. They lose their interest. They're done. They're off to the next guy. And to me, that is disgusting, man. That has to stop. Like that kind of behavior is what's ruining relationships and literally very frustrating. That's very frustrating to have to, be so careful what you say to someone. One text message too much, and they're done. Like that's, to me, that's not acceptable. And it's just another, result of this social media and the dating apps and these women just being out of control. But like I said before, I'm not trying to bash women, but to me, that it's just not acceptable. We've got to, you know, find a way to to stop with this nonsense. Like women are going to have a rude awakening when eventually they're going to come off their high horse, and I can see this Gen Z in this modern women just becoming literally the crazy cat woman. I mean, people might get offended for me saying that, but I really, that's truly what I see coming, to be honest. And I think they're gonna grow old and lonely and be sad, and I think they're really gonna regret their decisions when they get older. But I mean, there's nothing we can do about it, but just worry about ourselves. That's why I say, like, just men need to just worry about themselves, focus on themselves, work hard, stay positive, because that's all you can really do. But yeah, there's just tons and tons of examples of that kind of behavior, and it's just absolutely pathetic and disgusting. It's just, I mean, women have got to get more morals, because that kind of behavior is not acceptable. And if you guys have any comments or stories, feel free to leave them, and be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.